What's up guys, Ronaldo here and welcome to today's video. It's a bit of a different video as you already saw on Fasty's channel. Most of you saw on Fasty's channel. War is back. I've been also busy, doing in the background, putting in some work on that note as well, in case you were wondering. And with that good, amazing news, it's time for a new video, a bit of a different video. And as you already saw in the title, it's basically I want to go over five units that I believe should get buffed, and it would be benefiting. And that is buffing some units. I think buffing some units, but finally buffing them strongly is going to be very good for PvP endgame specifically as well, and hero diversity. I'm looking at RTA down in the future, right? RTA arena, current arena as well, or even guild wars, have some more versatility there, have some more options there. And with that, already make sure question of the day, guys, is going to be which units would you like to see buffed and how would you like to see them get buffed, right? What would you want to see is going to be the change? Because currently we had some buffs on the units that should have been buffed, but these buffs have just been very weak. Like, they didn't do anything, they didn't change the unit at all, they just stayed the same basically even after the buffs. So let's go after the first one. As you can see already, it is going to be Alaura here. I already have her pulled up. I think Alaura is very much a sad case because she has such a unique design. I love the aesthetics on her, and also I love her kit, right? The idea of her kit, it's super unique. She's the only one who can just stay invisible and deal damage. She's very unique in that aspect, but like Vargas does the same thing. He does basically the same amount of damage as her. A lot of her damage gets increased if you have her A5, but let's be honest, who's going to pull for her at A5, right? Who wants an A5 Alaura? Not me. But with her case, it's not going to be as interesting as the other heroes down the line, because I think her kit already itself is great. I think the idea is great. I have seen some unique cases how you can use her in Void Rift, right? If you have enough damage, you can use her in Gear Dungeon 2. If you have enough damage, you can use her in Gear A3, of course. If she just gets more damage, I think they literally should double the damage of her. And she will be so viable. She will have so many places to be. With her, theory crafting would be way more interesting. You could have a lot of interesting ideas also. Why do I have a Spirit Siphon on her here? Her Falcon's Crest is very underwhelming, right? If you look at it, I thought, oh, okay, we have that artifact to build for our Alaura, but to be honest, it doesn't do much. You can just run Idril's Gaze on her because she has so low stats on herself. I think they should give her some penetration into her kit so she can actually penetrate through defense, and then she will be able to be used in these different cases, right? But I don't want to go over her too much. I think she's just someone who needs more damage, right? And that's it. I want to go over some other units that I think have way more unique use cases if you actually buff them. I mean, she has very unique use cases, but she doesn't really need a lot of changes. It's just her damage that is lacking, right? So the next up is going to be right next to her, our boy Crach, And I think Crach's design is flawed completely. I don't think any of you guys disagree. And I would have quite some good ideas for him. So basically, right, if you take a look at him and his ultimate specifically, he fires a burst of 3 projectiles at a 500 cost, dealing a little bit of damage to 5 enemies, and has a 50% chance to cripple himself basically with misfire, right? He can cripple himself with the ultimate that doesn't deal a lot of damage anyways. And then he has a 15% defense ignore, does some AoE damage. As you see, his rage is also abysmal. And here's the thing that I want to look at specifically for Crach, because I think that could be a big change. Target lock. The ultimate's projectiles will mark hit targets for 5 seconds. Marked targets will take 40% extra damage from each basic attack. So I will get back to this. The closer the enemy is, the higher the damage. Okay, that's okay. And then his awakenings, right? He can put in stuns, which is nice. He has attack. He has defense reduction on the marked enemies. Now you might be able to see what I'm getting at soon. When the ultimate ends, removes the hero's misfire effect. Okay, so basically what I want, what I think he should be is a support more than a damage dealer. So what you need to do, Moonton, if you're listening, is just remove the misfire completely. Why is there a like, it's not, if it was Hotsot's ultimate and she had a misfire chance, maybe, but it's not a Hotsot ult. It's nowhere close as strong. Remove the misfire. That's first of all, get rid of that flaw. For him to have that range, it's unique, right? Then this is the big part. Make it that everyone, not just Crach, but everyone will actually be able to, after his ult, deal 50% extra damage from basic attacks. That would make him such a good support. Combine that with, to make it that everyone gets reduced defense. They deal 50% more damage, plus he has stuns as well at A1, and all of a sudden he will be a very viable support for some stuff like Guild Wars, for even hard content as well, where you need just more damage. He can just slot in, boost your damage. He can even be in Guild Boss if you have a super high burst damage or high damage output unit that deals a lot of damage with their auto attacks and not just the talent and stuff. You know, it has so much potential as a support if you just make it that this is for everyone and not just for himself. And then he will be able to do this, he will be able to do stuns, he will be, and you will make it that the defense also, right? With the defense and making it with the defense as well, right? That he can just take down the defense from the enemies as well. He will have so much utility, and of course get rid of that misfire. And all of a sudden he's a super good unit that can support. I think this guy, he has the potential with just some few changes that are just there to do. Like he's outdated, right? They need to get done. Let's be honest, they need to get done. So that about Crach. Now another one that I believe should get changed, that already received the buff, 2 buffs quite literally, because she also got the buff through having through having the bond skill with Celine, right? The problem is her ultimate is ridiculously bad. It is a single target ult. She spins, but she only hits one target with the spins. Keep that in mind. It deals no damage. It deals, her ult has a 700 cost. It basically deals 500,000 damage, like less than a Valdrin auto hit. Her ult. So what you need to change here is simple. Just change her ult to be like a Hotsot ult, but just on a unit like her, on a ground unit. Have a Hotsot ult on a ground unit. Unlike the Hotsot, she will have no invincibility, but unlike the Hotsot, she's not a platform unit but a ground unit. It will already make such big changes to her. It will give her some use cases where she can be used. She will not be as safe as a Hotsot, as she still only has a 2-tile range, which can get countered, so it's not going to be as overpowered as you might think to have another unit with basically a Hotsot ult, but it will just give her some use case, right? They tried to give her some use case by giving her extremely low cost, make her arena viable, right? If you go to the description, oh, okay, they took out the arena specialist. They took out the arena specialist off the description. Well, there we go, guys. They know themselves that this unit is not it. We don't need her to dilute the loot pool. We need her to be strong. Because she's a literal joke. I think she's the worst legendary in the game. She doesn't have any spot at all. She doesn't do any damage. She's a pure DPS without damage. Buffer already, Moonton, please. Oh yeah. Now the next one I have is going to be another one that is a rough one, and that is Upson. Now this man right here is awful. This man is just awful. Like, he is specifically designed to be an anti-air long-ranged fighter. That's his niche, right? That's his niche. That's what he's supposed to be, an anti-air fighter. But he doesn't deal any damage against anti-air. He does more damage against anti-air than against ground units, but he still gets out damaged by a large margin. I say always when I talk about Upson, that's the case that I say. He gets out damaged by a large margin by arrogance, a unit that does everything else that Upson doesn't do, and out damages Upson in his specific role that he is supposed to be niche, right? That should be his niche. And I think you need to double down, right? We have enough units at this point where they can actually be broad units, but we need some more niche units like the Alaura, right, to be able to fill out a specific niche. Or here with the Upson, if he's able to fill out a specific niche as well, would be as well amazing as well. And that is a fighter that is super strong against anti-air. You literally need to triple, I'm not kidding, my buff suggestion is here, literally triple his damage output on anti-air. I'm not even kidding. That's the only way you get him viable. That's how low his damage is. That's how useless this guy is. You just need to give this man some more. You need to give him some more. Like, penetrates 3 enemy targets and deals 750% damage to airborne units. Give him more. Give this man more damage. I really need to see that. Another one. Now next up, we have actually a lord that needs a buff. That's right. That is a lord that I've pulled multiple times, guys. That's a lord I've pulled multiple times. Not biased though. And that is Venoma. Like her kit just is outdated, right? The only use case for Venoma is the increases rage, right? The increased rage upon deployment. It can help on some niche teams, you know, with the deployment. It can help with some strategies in Gear Dungeon 1 especially, or for some speedrun options in certain content as well. But outside of that, there's nothing she can do. And you have kind of 2 options, like 2 ways you can approach Venoma, in my opinion. And that is either you're gonna go with her being a DPS and give her a big nuke on her ultimate, right? Because what is this? This is no damage at all. It's either that you make her into a DPS, or you make her into a support, which I think would be more unique, more interesting, but harder to execute, because currently she applies Curse and she applies Hex. And both of these debuffs are kind of fake. They're kind of fake debuffs, really. So either you need to buff these debuffs and double down on her kit with these debuffs, you know, to make them be applied more, have more impact onto the game, right? Have more power, you know, more of that oomph, you know. And then she will be very unique. She will have unique use cases where she can stall out the fight with the Curse, or she can deal a lot of damage with the Hex. But just do something like that. That's something that I think needs to be done, because her damage is literally like, it's not there. Her attack is also not there. It is such an outdated kit, and she needs some love. She really needs some love. And the last one that I want to go over with you guys is gonna be, is it actually the 6th one? Maybe. It doesn't matter. This guy, Zealous. Now Zealous has his own artifact that reduces healing by 45% maxed out. I think they already buffed it once, but they need to buff him again. They need to buff this man again. Like, give this artifact 100% anti-healing. That's the first thing that should be done. And on top of that, I don't think he should be a DPS, but he should have some more vulnerability, right? Give him more vulnerability and give him a slow. Give him a slow and vulnerability, which will make him a great support for curse teams. Because currently, we have with Beelzebub, someone who can slow, who can invic buff. He can do so much for your team as a cursed unit. And then you have this guy, who gives such a low vulnerability, right? But if you look at Beelzebub, unfortunately I didn't get him, or I didn't really want to get him because he's just, everyone knows about him already. But look at Beelzebub, right? He slows, he gives invic, he gives vulnerability, he gives everything, right? He gives inspiration, he gives everything you want from a cursed unit. So at least give something to Zealous. At least give something to Zealous. Now I see already my face is getting brighter and brighter as the sun is slowly starting to leave here in Switzerland. But that's it from my side already. Let me know what you guys think of these buff ideas. Would you welcome them, and which units would you want to see buffed, and how would you want to see them buffed? With that said, war should be back. Glad to hear that. Happy they managed to resolve everything so quickly. And I'm Ronaldo. Make sure to like and subscribe as it increases your summoning luck, and I'm out. Peace!